What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. Wow. So today we are back going to be talking about Survivor South Africa, season 6, episodes 2 through 4. And what a wild ride this string of 3 episodes was. We saw a rock draw, a person quit, and finally a tribe swap. So my name is Rachel.
I'm Alyssa, and I really enjoyed these 3 episodes of Survivor South Africa. I feel like the more of Survivor South Africa I see, the more I like it, like editing wise. I feel like one of the things Survivor South Africa does really well is they don't spend too long on the challenges unnecessarily. Like, I felt like everything that was shown in a challenge actually is useful to knowing what happens later at camp, or useful to knowing, like, oh, this tribe lost because of this reason. And I feel like sometimes Survivor USA is so obsessed with giving us the like blow by blow of everything that happens in a challenge that like you kind of waste time.
Yeah, I really like this string of 3 episodes. It's definitely a hot mess in terms of strategy right now for these people, considering there's a freaking rock draw on the second episode, the second boot of the season, which I don't think I would have ever imagined seeing in my lifetime, but that happened. So it seems like there's some questionable strategy choices, but I think that makes it interesting because I was not expecting what was going to happen in this string of 3 episodes. So Alyssa and I will be podcasting about Survivor South Africa during this long hiatus off season. Big Brother is starting this week, so we might talk about that as well throughout this off season of Survivor United States. We are going to be talking about 3 episodes of Survivor South Africa each week. So today we're talking about episodes 2, 3, and 4. Next week we'll talk about episodes 5, 6, and 7, which after this podcast goes live, we'll try to upload and stick the links for the next week's episode, so you can follow along and watch with us during this off season. So it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great way for us to like keep in the survivor mindset, because I feel like sometimes if the hiatuses go longer, I'm like, what is survivor? What is survivor strategy? And I feel like Survivor South Africa definitely has some interesting strategy. So,
Yeah, hopefully, I guess we'll see if it picks up and people start thinking well into the game. So, at the start of episode 2, we see after the premiere episode that the Red Tribe, the 5, want to stick together. They call themselves the Big 5, which is the Tom and Ace group, Neil, and then you have Annalise and Shanae in there. And so they're saying, oh, yay, we're going to stick 5 till merge, Big 5. And then that was interesting because at first I was like, oh, why are we being shown this? But it does come into play later at Tribal Council because Big 5 till merge was not sticking together.
yeah, I feel like as soon as you hear them say in an episode, like, oh, our alliance is bulletproof, or like, oh, so and so is definitely going home tonight, you like know that's not going to happen. And so that was pretty obvious, I would say, that the Big Five did not stay together. So,
Yeah, leaving
uh,
the minority with Paulisa, Josie, and Vusi on the Red Tribe. And so we see Paulisa getting the hidden immunity idol clue. And so I was like, okay, yes, go girl. After these 3 episodes, I really like her. And so honestly, I didn't pick a winner pick my first time, but I really like Paulisa. Either she's like super lucky finding 2 hidden immunity idol clues, or she's like super good at the game. So she finds this clue, good for her for sneaking it in front of 2 other people that she was with. And it's under the raft in a challenge, which I was confused by because I thought it would be the challenge coming up that episode. But then it was actually a challenge in a different episode. So I was like, oh, she found this clue, but it was never talked about again. And then I guess she just didn't get the idol because it wasn't mentioned in the rest of episode 2. But the idol was in episode 3's challenge. So I just found that a little interesting because I was confused at first.
yeah, because they gave her like the keyword that she needed to listen for. Like it was like when you hear the word balance in tree mail, that is when you're going to be able to get your idol. And I feel like that's kind of, it's definitely different because it's not immediate. And it's like if I was her and I got voted out that night and never got to use the idol clue, I would have been a little miffed, just because it's like, I did the right thing. I got the idol clue, but I wasn't able to get the idol because you didn't give me the chance to get the idol. So, yeah, it was
Yeah,
kind of confusing. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
yeah, I guess maybe it's a thing where it's okay, it's not in this episode, you won't be able to find the idol. It's not a challenge that's coming up today kind of thing. So if that's like common knowledge for everyone, then that's great. Okay, then you know it's coming up in the future. But I would just say like that the way that they hide idols in Survivor South Africa is really interesting because like the challenge one was cool, and then the one in episode 4, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, was also cool. So I think they do a really good job of making it not just like, let me stick my hand in a hole in a tree and then I'm going to find an idol, but really making it more puzzle-like or risky in order to get an idol, which I really liked.
Yeah, and I think another thing that was cool was even people without the idol clues could find like
Mm-hmm.
the challenge idol, because it was in a pretty obvious location, and I just thought that was really cool because both of the challenge idols were found, or challenge idol clues. I wasn't really sure whether they were actual idols or idol clues. But anyways, both of those were found, but everyone on the tribe knew who found them. And so I feel like that's kind of different than what we see on Survivor, because I know when Kelly Wentworth found her idol in the challenge, no one even knew it was there because you had to have had the clue to know where to look, basically.
Yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy, US Survivor versus South African, because it's like US Survivor, the clues or the idols in the challenges are hidden in spots where you wouldn't be like looking necessarily, similarly like Jeremy's idol or Choi Zan's idol from the challenge. So I think that was interesting where it's a challenge idol and you could get the clue, so you get a little bit of heads up, but also it's like there for everyone else to see. So anyone else who didn't have a clue, if they're paying attention to their surroundings, could also see. So it sort of reminds me of like the clues or the little advantages that they stick on the sit out bench for people. And then you can notice it, like Sarah finding it when Michaela sat out on the sit out bench. But if you don't notice it, then you also don't get to see it.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting because these guys all seem to realize that whatever is there for one tribe is going to be there for the other tribe. So I'm pretty sure someone on the blue tribe saw the red tribe's thing and was like, hey, that must mean there's one for us too. So I thought that was a pretty cool use of like the brain. Just because I feel like sometimes people don't follow logical progression and then are surprised by things that happen. And so,
I agree. I think we're jumping ahead of ourselves now, which is the weird thing about having the idol clue found in episode 2, but the actual payout in finding the idol happened in episode 3, because this didn't even happen until the next episode. So back in episode 2, we see a reward challenge. This was a pretty big, pretty cool challenge, and at the end it had the insanity cube that Alyssa and I actually did on this channel as a DIY, where we tried to do like the stacking of the 4 colored cubes, and then we failed miserably. Something was wrong, we could not figure it out, and so I think we need to go back to that because this insanity cube challenge comes up on like every single Survivor season now.
yeah, because it's one of those things I feel like it can take forever or it can take like 10 seconds. So I feel like Insanity Cube is one of those things like the like 7-piece puzzles where you should just memorize how to do it because
Yeah,
it'll just be easier for you.
I agree. They also have to like shimmy or firefighter down a pole. It's a bamboo pole. And then I wrote like, that looks uncomfortable. That's a big ouchie. I don't know why you would want to shimmy down a bamboo pole. That really looks like it's going to hurt. And so we see Blue win. They have a winning streak right now, 3 in a row, even when they're coming from behind. So they are on a winning streak, which is cool.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting when a tribe goes on a winning streak because you see the way that their like tribe dynamics change when they're like on top of the world versus when they're not. So it's interesting.
Yeah, so going back into the Blue Tribe after they win, they won some chickens. And so in the first premiere episode, Alyssa and I were like, oh, this is sort of graphic. They killed a snake on TV and they showed the like riddling two halves of the snake's body. Very gross. And so then they kill the chickens on the screen too. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to see this. We hear the head snap and then we see the dead hanging body. And I was like, oh no, this is way too graphic.
Yeah, Rachel told me it was coming. So when they were like to the part where they were about to butcher the chicken, I was like, fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. Just because it's like, that's one of the things I don't like as much about Survivor South Africa. Just because, like, did we really need to see the dead chicken's body?
Yeah, and then like the feathers flying around on the ground and stuff, and then like they want to kill the second chicken in episode 3. I was like, dang, they aren't even like using it for eggs or anything. They just want instant reward now, and then they're gonna show us the head getting chopped off. It was not fun.
Yeah, I thought it was surprising that no one even talked about eggs because they were both like, the chickens were obviously female. They called them she. And so I was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I agree. I think with that, it is a very stark distinction. Tevin says he's going to go into veganism after that. I was like, yo, same, I guess. That was just so graphic. So with the Blue Tribe also, we get into some sticky situations. Jean is trying to play both sides, and she is creating an all-girls alliance and also an alliance with some boys. And so Katinka spills the beans and says Sean made an all-girls alliance, which maybe was going to have some payout in episode 4, which didn't end up happening. There could have been a lot of drama with Sean in episode 4, which there was no payoff for because of someone quitting. So the Blue Tribe 5 in Tevin, Tony, PK, Stacey, and Sean, which is Jean's like alliance with some men in it, said everyone wants Martinez gone. And so Jean is in some sticky waters here because she thinks that Martinez is going, but also people want to vote her out.
Yeah, and I gotta say, they made the decision to throw a challenge, and that is the dumbest decision ever. Just
so much wrong because like that's not even in this episode also. Like so much hot mess strategy going on.
Yeah, and speaking of hot mess strategy, again, this is kind of jumping around, but they go to rocks at this tribal when there are 17 people left in the game. And I'm like, oops.
Same, Alyssa.
Yeah, but it's like,
yeah, 100% my reaction to the immunity challenge. Blue wins again, so we don't see any of the Jean versus Martinez thing come up, which I was like, okay, maybe it's happening next time. Why would they show us this? And then it didn't end up happening, so that was sad. But then before Tribal, it was going to potentially be a 4-4, and Polisa was trying to get Ace on their side to make it a 4-4 and trying to trick Ace into thinking that she has an idol, which I was like, okay, damn, Paulisa, that is some good strategy right there, and doing it right before Tribal as well. I wrote that in my notes. I'm seeing a lot of good stuff from her, and she was super smooth. She didn't even show Ace the idol, but like implied that she had it by showing him a little baggy kind of thing. And so then Ace wants to flip, which I was like, okay, I guess I can see it because you're not really a part of the big 5 with Tom and them because they were just using you the first vote. And it seems like maybe you might work better with like Vusi, Paulisa, and the other, I think, who was it? It's
PK.
Josie. Yeah, Josie on that tribe. And so I was like, okay, Ace, I think you might work better with the other people. But then I'm like, it is way too early to make a 4-4 tie. Like, what the heck?
It's way too early to make a 4-4 tie. And what's even more like, I don't know if you call this poetic justice or what, but they nominate a leader at Tribal Council. And then the guy who gets rocked out is the very same leader that they literally, like an hour earlier, elected. And I'm like,
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I get Ace wanting to flip. If you're in that situation, you're the bottom of that 5, sure, but not in a 8-person tribe, the second tribal council ever. Why are you making it a 4-4 tie? So after the first tie came up and then, you can only have one more tie before we go to rocks, I was for sure thinking that someone would flip. Maybe Ace would flip back and go with Tom in the big 5, but I was like, no freaking way are they going to have a tie when it's only the second tribal council of the season. You're going to be and you're willing to put your entire Survivor game at chance at the second tribal council of the season. Like, I don't think the lines are drawn in the sand that much that you can flip right now. Maybe you lose your member and you're down in a number, but a tribe swap is probably going to happen. You still have 34 days, 35 days left in the game. Like, why are you forcing it to rocks and you're so steadfast in your 4-4 alliance that you aren't just willing to let someone go so your game isn't brought to chance? I was just so confused.
I was so confused because it seems like this is a problem that's happening on both tribes where they're both like, everyone seems to have decided who they hate already. And I'm like, you have known each other for 6 days. Like, what is going on? Like, I feel like there's some sort of like disconnect where I'm not understanding why they hate each other so much. Like,
yeah, maybe it's like Alyssa and I have never played the game. Maybe your alliances are so freaking strong by day 6 that you are willing to ride or die for these people. But I feel like personally, for a good Survivor player, you should be able to maneuver different kinds of scenarios. You should not have just one alliance. You should maybe have more connections. And I think forcing it to go to rocks really alienates a lot of people. The losing side is going to be pissed off. The winning side is going to be high on life, which is what we saw happen. But then it's like, you're going to have people hate you because you went to a rock draw at the second tribal council when you could have just maybe Ace flips back with Tom and then he's like, I'm so sorry. They brainwashed, mind tricked me. I thought she had an idol, like play stupid, play dumb, go in there and be like, I'm super sorry, I flipped, but I thought she had an idol, and then maybe get back into Tom's graces, and then you can flip later on. But I just felt that flipping and making it a 4-4 tie this early in the game was just way too soon, and going to rocks and no one flipping in that second vote was just sort of really dumb. I don't know. I would feel so sad for Neil being rocked out on the second tribal council of the season. Like, you've let your game go to chance. Why would you do that?
I just feel like Ace, I don't really understand him because he keeps flip-flopping so much. Because the first episode, he was with the one group, he flipped to the other, and now he's flipping back to do the 4-4 tie. And it's like, if you wanted to work with them so much, why did you flip on them last episode? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, rock draw, it was not a good time. I was like, okay, final 2, not final, 17 people left on this island. The lines aren't drawn in the sand that much. I think you can try to scramble something up at the next tribal, or whenever you go back, a tribe swap is probably going to happen. That you shouldn't be going to rocks at the second tribal council of the season. Something is wrong there. But the outcome of Neil going home, I was fine with, because I was honestly rooting for Paulessa's side of things. I thought she seemed really cool this episode, so I wanted her minority side to win, even though Ace was being sort of annoying, flip-flopping back and forth. But I was fine with the majority of the minority at the beginning of the episode becoming the majority at the end of the episode, with Paulessa's group coming in top.
Yeah, I like Paulessa's group better, if only because I feel like there are very few players in this game I actually like. I think Rachel and I were texting about this earlier, and I was like, I don't think I like a single one of these people. And Rachel was like, I like Paulessa, and I was like, oh, I guess I like her too. But basically everyone else, I'm just like, why are you making stupid decisions? I don't like you. Please leave me alone.
Yeah, and so this rock draw outcome starts the downfall of Tom. In the premiere episode recap, Alyssa said Tom was her winner pick, and I texted her after watching these. I was like, yo, Tom goes on a big poo-poo train because he just becomes so mean, and I'm not about Tom anymore. So at the start of episode 3, we see Tom going off. He's yelling at like Boosie and Paulissa and all of them, like, why did you flip? He's yelling at Ace, being super mean at camp, which okay, I guess, you are emotional after that tribal council, but he was low-key over the top. I don't know. I felt uncomfortable watching.
Yeah, I don't like it when like men get angry and start yelling. It just makes me very uncomfortable. So I did not like that either. I feel like
And it. Oh, go ahead.
that whole alliance kind of makes me uncomfortable because they always seem to be like rubbing the loser's face in the fact that they're losers. Like, I feel like there's ways to be opposed to people in Survivor that isn't like nasty. And I feel like a lot of times Tom's alliance kind of like verged on nasty.
Yeah, I agree. Annalise and Tom, they were mad at Ace. They wouldn't even let Ace explain himself. And they were talking about revenge and everything. They really want to vote out Ace. And I don't know. It seems like in the preview for episode 5, we see Tom going off on Palesa because they get tribe swapped together. And I was like, oh no. Can we vote him out already? But that doesn't happen because Tom finds an idol at the reward challenge because Palesa was just too slow to go because, like Alyssa and I just talked about, she found the clue and it was for the challenge in this episode, and it was hidden on, like, you were in, I guess, the challenge, you're on the water and you have to travel across a balance beam, that challenge, and then the idol was hidden under the I guess the stands that you're standing on in order to climb back up. Yeah, the platform. And so both tribes could see where the idol was. Tom jumps in and he gets it for their tribe. And so Palesa is out of an idol.
Yeah, Paulisa, I feel like, was trying really hard to be surreptitious about it. Like, she didn't want people knowing that she had it. Oof. That's how you can tell my brain is melting. That she had it. And I think that's a good strategy. But when you saw Tom start like gesturing to whoever it was that was on the platform, that's when you like go for broke.
Yeah, like Jean saw it. She was telling Stacey, then Werner overhears, and Werner was the one on the other tribe who found the clue, so he knew that an idol was going to be at this reward challenge as well. And so then Werner jumps in and gets it, and he did it in front of everyone. Everyone noticed. So I guess it's sort of opposite of what Palisa was trying to do because she waited too long that Tom got it, versus Werner, when he heard other people motioning towards it or mentioning it, he just jumped off of the beam in the opposite direction. So he didn't even fake a fall. He just like literally jumped off to go and get the idol.
Yeah, and so I guess both strategies have their ups and downs. Like, obviously Werner and Tom are the ones that got the idols, but then, like I said earlier, everyone knows that they have the idols. And so one of the things about idols in Survivor is that they're even more powerful if no one knows you have it. So
yeah, the thing that rubbed me the wrong way was, like, I think it was Annalise. It was one of the girls or Shawnee that got the idol for Tom because Tom was still up there and the girl picked up the idol. And then Tom, after the challenge, was to like Annalise or Shawnee saying that belongs to me. And then they gave it back to him. I was like, I'm just, no.
And then they did that whole, this is our idol. It'll be in my bag, but any of us can use it. And I'm like, there's no way. No way.
I don't see Tom sharing that. I think other people would. I don't see Tom sharing that idol.
I feel like he's going to say that he's going to share it right up until the moment when someone else needs it. And then he'll be like, actually, I think it's in my best interest if I don't share this idol. And it's like,
yeah, so Werner did the smart thing, I guess. He just went to the whole tribe after the challenge. Red wins their first challenge. That's super cool. And Werner just gathers everyone around and is like, yo, I have the idol. This is a team idol, but I'm going to hold on to it. So sort of similar thing to Tom, but Werner says it's a whole team idol. I feel like we saw this in Survivor New Zealand too, where it became a team idol once everyone saw that one person had it. And then it ended up like the person that had it ended up playing it on themselves later. So even if it's a team idol, it's sort of really like your own idol kind of thing. And you just have to maneuver well into playing it for yourself and other people not getting mad at you for not playing it for them.
Yeah, it's just the whole team idol thing never works out the way people want it to. And I feel like it's a great way to just piss off jury members. So
yeah, and I thought in this segment we see Sean having a good social read. She's like, okay, me and Stacey Lee, we need to shut up, keep our distance. The girls aren't actually on board with the all girls thing. So I was like, okay, she has a good read. Maybe she's not going to get voted out this episode because she's realizing that people are sort of treating her differently or are being rubbed the wrong way by her. And then it's like so weird and confusing that Sean, who's on the blue tribe, then wants to throw the challenge, and Stacey is on board because they want to get a boy to get voted out so the girls will have a majority. But then also the boys want to throw the challenge so that they can vote a girl out, so then the boys will have the majority. So basically, everyone on this blue tribe wants to throw this challenge in order to get their way, but obviously not everyone is going to be in the majority, and Jean Martinez, one of these people, is going to be bamboozled after they literally just decided to throw a challenge. I was like, this is such a hot mess. First we have the rock draw in episode 2, and now everyone wants to go to tribal council in episode 3.
Again, why are you doing this so early in the game? Like, I understand if you're going to try and throw a challenge at a critical point. Even then, throwing challenges it almost never works out the way you think it's going to.
So risky.
And I feel like Werner was saying, like, I don't think this is a good idea, but I also can't go against my alliance when they say, like, oh, we need to throw the challenge. And I feel like just knowing that someone knew it was a bad idea made me feel a little bit better, because it seemed like they were just like, yeah, this is going to be great. And I'm like, no, this is not going to be great. So
I agree. I think Werner's stock went up. So Werner and Polisa are good people. Everyone else, I'm like, why are you making these choices? So Werner at least voicing some dissent and us as viewers seeing him dissent probably means good things for the long run. But I was like, yeah, no way this is going to work out for everyone. I think especially at the third tribal council of the season, a swap is probably going to happen. I don't think it's the right time to throw a challenge. Like you were saying, a critical point, maybe right before the merge, you vote out someone. Like if you piss Sean off and then she knows that you hate her and you're going to flip on her, that she's going to flip at the merge, yeah, then maybe throw the challenge right before the merge so you don't have a flipper going into the merge. But I'm like, okay, with only 2 tribal councils before this, you're about to throw a challenge on the third one to vote out and try to get the men and women numbers up. It seems a little bit odd.
Yeah, they're all so dumb. And also the fact that they want to throw a challenge and then they think the other half is not throwing the challenge is really weird, because it's like, I feel like whenever you try to throw a challenge without having everyone on board, that's when you end up like creating even more tension than there was before. Because especially when Blue has been dominating so much, it's like if they suddenly suck at a challenge, if the girls hadn't also been trying to throw the challenge, they would have known that something was up. So
yeah, and then you'd get called out for it. Then you'd have like more dissension and more problems within the tribe. I think it's just sort of funny. I think in Survivor New Zealand, it was happening that both tribes wanted to throw the immunity challenge because the tribe swap happened, and then it just happened to be like one tribe had a majority minority of one color, and then the other tribe, it was flipped. So the minority was the like same color as the majority on the other, so and vice versa. So like the majority on the tribe on one tribe wanted to throw the challenge so that their tribe would lose and they could vote out the minority on their tribe of the other color and save their fellow colored same colored people on the other tribe. So I was like, okay, yo, when everyone is trying to throw the challenge, that is just a sticky situation. And that's probably why in US Survivor, we don't see or hear anyone talk about throwing challenges anymore to try to dissuade people from throwing challenges. But I mean, it is a very viable strategy, especially I think going into a merge, or if you have a tribe swap where the tribe numbers are so distinctly split that you can safely throw a challenge and have it like 3-2, you're voting out a minority and you're saving your fellow people on the other tribe that would have lost. I think maybe that could be a good strategy, but it just gets sort of sticky, like in this situation when everyone's trying to throw it for their own personal gain.
Yeah, especially because it's like throwing doesn't work the way people think it does. Like, I cannot remember a time where someone was like, we're going to throw this challenge, and then ended up voting out the person that they threw the challenge to vote out.
So we go into the immunity challenge. You have to make a choice, which I thought was interesting. You could stay on the course or you take a shortcut. And if you take a shortcut, then you get a bigger puzzle, which sort of correlates to a harder puzzle at the end. And I thought that was cool. We've seen some kind of iterations of this on the US Survivor, but I really like them getting a choice. I think Survivor South Africa does a really good job with adding these little things that are like really interesting into the game, like making a choice, making the idols a little bit harder to get. I like this.
Yeah, I think it's good as well because it gives you kind of more insight to how the players are thinking. Because if you see a tribe, for example, like automatically take the shortcuts because they know they're good at puzzles but not good at physical, that tells you something. Whereas if they had just had to do the challenge regularly, it would just be like, okay, cool, they're slower than the other tribe, but then they get back at the puzzle. Like, it gives you a sense of the tribe's own self-awareness, I think.
Yeah, and I think the thing that you could skip was the balance beam. And so for anyone who's going out to Survivor, I think you have to practice fire, swimming, puzzles. You should probably also practice going over balance beams because either everyone just sucked at the balance beams or they were trying to throw it that hard that they just kept falling off these balance beams. But it seems like some people just lack the ability to walk over balance beams.
Yeah, and like I'm sure part of that is like the adrenaline because it's harder to balance if you're really like hyped. But Lord. So the blue tribe ended up losing the challenge. I'm pretty sure someone said like, no, we didn't throw this challenge. We just lost. Because they were like, I'm not sure if we would have won even if we had been trying. But then this is when everything just goes to poop.
Yeah, I was like, okay, Red's first immunity win. That's super cool. Before Tribal, it'd be Jean versus Martinez because that is what everything was setting up to be. I was like, okay, who's going to win of this? It seems like Jean is going to go home because the men are teaming up with the women and they're going to vote Jean out. The all girls thing isn't a thing. The all boys thing isn't really a thing. They want to bring in Martinez now, which I was like, okay, that's smart. Martinez might be a little bit annoying, but he seems like a loyal dude and he's going to be a loyal number. But then he goes off on Werner. That was a little bit weird, but I think that was in episode 2. But so I was like, okay, Jean versus Martinez. It's going to be very, very interesting because Jean is going to be very bamboozled.
Yeah, but then option number 3 comes out of nowhere where Stacey Lee decides that she wants to quit. Except for she won't actually say that she's quitting. She's just trying to get people to vote her out. And so people are like, are you just doing this to save Jean? Like, what's your actual motive here? And it was just she was really bad at lying too.
This is like 3D chess Survivor. She's like, I was just so flabbergasted. She's like, yeah, I want to quit. I was like, what the heck? So, okay, everyone is going to vote for you, but then the boys will still want to blindside Jean. So the boys are like, okay, are we going to blindside Jean or give Stacey her wishes and vote Stacey out of the game? And then I was like, what the even heck? Why does Stacey Lee want to quit now because she was feeling so sad about losing the challenge and all of that? Then I'm like, okay, why did y'all even throw the challenge then?
Yeah, and It's also so dumb because they were seriously considering letting their tribe be down 2 members because they were like, we could still vote out John, and then if Stacey Lee quits, she quits. And then that would be really bad for the minority, but it would also be really bad for the tribe because they'd be down. So
I was like, this is just so bad. I was like, okay, we're gonna get set up for a really cool vote with Sean versus Martinez. And I was like, no, Stacey Lee's got to ruin it all and ask to be voted out. So tribal council, we see Martinez fighting with everyone, which is actually the Werner thing because they were going to fake act that they don't like Martinez, and then Martinez actually thinks they're not acting. And I'm like, yo, what kind of world are you living in? Can you please get on the same page as everyone else? They said they were going to fake act like they dislike you to make Sean feel comfortable. And then you think they're real fake, like, and then he hates Werner. I was like, this is just too much. Too much is happening. Stacey Lee is quitting. I just cannot.
it was all just so out of left field too. Because it's like, last episode, everyone hated Martinez, and now half of them want to work with him. And we didn't even see Stacey Lee didn't even see Stacey Lee last episode. I'm getting so flustered. I'm just like,
I was like, oh my God. For the actual players on this season, which we haven't really seen too many people's strategies, they must be like dying because these people are just, I don't know, if you were playing with Martinez and you tell someone you're going to fake act and then they come back and they yell at you after tribal, like, you're so mean to me. Why don't you like me? I'm like, yo, you need to vote them out because they are just such a big liability, which also makes them a good person to keep in the game if they're on your same page because they're just not all good in the brain right now. But I thought it was smart. PK threw a vote on Jean just in case maybe someone had an idol. So the final votes for this tribal council were 5 Stacey, 2 Werner, and 1 Jean, which the Werner ones were sort of weird. So that would be Sean and Stacey voting for Werner. And I was like, yo, okay, that was interesting. Why not throw it on Martinez?
I really don't understand any of it. This whole episode was like garbage fire. And then I feel like the entire time of episode 4, I was just still trying to process episode 3. And so
I agree. Episode 2 and 3 were like, why the heck did I just waste my time watching this? Because if you're going to rock draw at the second tribal council, like, please don't do that. And then if you're going to quit on the third episode, like, it was just such a hot mess. And then episode 4, we see a tribe swap. I was like, okay, interesting, very cool. And so Nico is like, drop your buffs. Okay, 15 people. Tribe swap. It's probably going to be 3 tribes of 5. Or no, 5 tribes of 3.
No, 3 tribes of 5.
No, yeah, you're right. I was right the first time. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, see, Alyssa and I are just having a day today. So 3 tribes of 5, yes. So the red tribe is Tony, Sean, Ace, Josie, and Werner. Tony, I guess we haven't talked about her this whole time. Who is she? Blue tribe is PK, Tevin, Katinka, Martinez, and Annalise.
Oh,
and then yellow.
Tony.
Huh?
Who is Tony? Like, you say that name and my brain just goes static. I don't know who that is.
She has glasses. And then the yellow tribe is Tom, Palisa, Marishka, Shanae, and Busi. So I guess we know everyone's name now, so that is good. The tribe swap, sort of difficult, like we said in the premiere episode recap. When you don't do the cast assessment, it's sort of really, really hard to know who everyone is. So, like, I don't really know what their jobs are. I sort of know everyone's name and face now, but on a tribe, I don't know who was on the tribe together the first time. So it's really hard to analyze, like, who knows who and who's friends with who and who dislikes who when I don't really remember who was on the same tribe to start with. So even the yellow tribe, which is Tom and Shanae, are tight. And then Palesa and Busi are tight. And so I didn't even realize those 4 were on the same tribe and they just hated each other now because of the rock draw that just happened. And that's why Marishka was in the middle. I was just so confused. I was like, why do these people hate each other? But it was because of the rock draw.
Yeah, I was like, isn't Marishka kind of screwed? Because they were all...
Yeah.
Also, random aside, I love that instead of like opening buffs, they had to smash an egg full of paint on their body. Like, that is so extra, but I appreciate it.
I liked how it was random to make the tribes rather than like when Jeff does the tribes, it's like male and female buffs. The number distinction is already set out. So you know you're going to have like 3 men, 2 women, or 3 women, 2 men on a tribe. So like those numbers are already distinct. But it seemed like with this, there were no male female distinctions, but anyone could just go and like pick a color that they wanted and like get their own egg, you know?
Yeah, I like that too, because I think one of the things that people talk about also is like it's possible that some tribe swaps in Survivor are rigged. And don't know how I feel about those conspiracy theories, but I don't think there's any way that you could say that the contestants going out and picking the egg is rigged.
Yeah, and so Polisa is a lucky girl because she finds another clue with her egg for a hidden immunity idol at Tribal Council. And so maybe this is the idol that Adam Klein was referencing and alluding to when he went up to get the podium idol. So I'm actually really looking forward to this idol potentially coming out at Tribal Council, police stepping up and playing the idol. I think that will be super fun to watch. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm also excited for that. I hope that it happens soon, because otherwise I'll forget.
So yeah, we go first into the first challenge with these new tribes, and then it's a obstacle course, and then you have to land 3 bean bags on a hanging platform, and then you win all of the rewards in the game so far. So I was like, okay, the yellow tribe needs to win that because they're going to have to go back and create a whole new camp because they're the new tribe. So typical like US Survivor, if you get the new color, you have nothing starting out. But then Nico is like, the winner of this challenge gets to go to a brand new beach with like all built-in amenities, a hammock, a swinging bench, a nice bedding area, a fire pit. And then second place gets to pick the one camp that they want to go to. Third place gets the last camp that no one picks. I was like, oh, now that is a really cool thing. I'm not sure how I feel about a tribe getting a whole like resort camp because they're going to have sort of like an unfair advantage like we saw in Survivor Fiji with the haves and the have-nots. So that part I'm a little iffy on, but I like the choosing beach camp thing.
Yeah, I think that's a lot better than just like you go back to the camp that you were previously assigned, because I feel like that's just, it's one of the things where when people talk about getting swap screwed, I feel like getting swapped onto the third tribe is a way to almost entirely be swap screwed, just because you have to invest so much energy in making a new camp and then you don't have any like supplies like you would have at other camps. So I liked this one slightly better, but I still wish that the new beach wasn't like a luxury resort beach, like you said.
Yeah, the new beach, the new camp is not fair. It's so good. They got benches, beds, hammocks, it's a straight up resort there. And so we see the yellow tribe. Mirthika is the swing vote on this tribe. Tom has an idol, which he tries to sway Mirthika with. And I don't know. Then Tom started to rub me the wrong way a lot more. He is just trying to use Mirthika to become a 3 and have like power over the Vusi and Palesa tribe, the side of things. And so I really hope we don't see Yellow go to Tribal Council this episode, but I pray that Mirthika goes with Palesa and Vusi. If she goes with Tom's group, I will want to cry. I really hope she goes with Palesa's group.
I mean, it's also possible that they just decide that it's easier to knock her off and then they can go to rocks or whatever. Because I don't know. I feel like it never works out well when you're the swing vote in the middle of 2, because then you end up being the target if something does happen. Like, I don't like Marithika's chances in the future, I guess is what I want to say.
Okay, I guess I'm opposite of you there. I feel like the Tom versus Palesa groups are not going to be able to reconcile their differences. I think Tom just hates them for some odd reason. Like, a rock draw was going to happen. It's not like Palesa's fault a rock draw happened. All of you didn't switch your votes the second time that you got to vote. So Tom, it's your fault the rock draw happened too. And it's just luck that your side and Neil got voted out. Like, I don't understand why he hates Palesa and Boosie so much. So I really don't see them reconciling their differences. So I really feel like Murthika is going to be the swing vote, but also Palesa and Tom could both have idols. So maybe a bad idol play happens and then Murthika goes home. But also I could see, because Palesa and Boosie know that Tom has an idol, that hopefully that they could play that in their favor. And now Murthika knows that Tom has an idol because he used it to try to sway her onto their side, that maybe they could vote out was it Annalise on that tribe or Shanae on that tribe with them? And then I just want Tom to get voted out. I just cannot stand him.
Yeah, I don't think he will, though. Because now he has control of the idol. And I feel like he won't, like we said, he's probably not going to play it for someone else.
So Tom is probably going to make it at least one more vote if he plays the idol. If they go to tribal council, if they don't lose again, Tom could easily make it onto the merge. And so I just feel like Tom approaching Murthika first when they get back to camp after that beginning challenge was a little bit too early, because I don't know, you're sort of playing your cards in the way that you seem very desperate, because Murthika is in the middle and the first thing you do is come up to her and be like, come to R3, we're going to vote out Palesa and Boosie, like, we don't like them. And so I don't know, I think you're just showing your cards too much. I think the smarter play would have faked a foursome aligned front with the old four that were together, and then made Murthika feel alienated, that, okay, now when she comes and now I'm doing you a favor, that we're like saving you, you're indebted to us now kind of thing, versus Tom and them just going straight up to her and like, yeah, no, you're in the power position, you control who goes home.
Yeah, I just feel like it was not very smart social play. But like, none of these people seem to be super great social players. So
yeah, the smart thing would have been to do the aligned front. So we see the blue tribe. Martinez is being annoying again. He's bad-mouthing Katinka, saying Katinka doesn't have any alliances, and Martinez just has so many alliances, which I'm like, okay, you can be quiet now. And so Martinez is like, yeah, I'm not going home first. I feel so good on this tribe. And then we see Tevin saying he wants to flip and vote Martinez out, which I was like, oh, this is some drama, because I really thought Tevin and PK would maybe keep Martinez around, because Martinez seems a little bit airheaded, you know, like he seems very loyal, but if you get on the wrong side of him, like he hates Werner now. He's very unpredictable in that sense, but he's sort of like annoying in the way that you can bring him to the end if you're able to bring him to the end, and he won't get any votes.
Yeah, I just feel like it's one of those things where is a lifetime of annoyance and having to stroke his ego worth the easiness of his vote? Because it's like he basically threw a temper tantrum when something was clearly expressed to him, and then I'm still not sure whether he forgot that was the plan or he just...
That's why I'm like, he calls Katinka dumb for being like the blonde model girl, but I'm like, yo, Martinez, you're also sort of airheaded. Like, I think Katinka's playing a better game than you. She's under the radar.
Yeah, like I feel like Martinez is never not going to have something target on his back, because he's always going to be that like fallback vote of like, oh, we can't think of anyone else to vote out. We might as well just vote out Martinez because he's annoying.
Yeah, I think it might be smart for Tevin and PK to cut their losses and vote him out, even if he is a loyal, easy alliance member. He just seems a little bit too unpredictable and not in a good way. So we go into the immunity challenge. You have to knock the blocks off the frame and then rebuild the tall stack. This is a fun challenge. You need teamwork in order to complete. And I'm like, okay, we probably won't see another one of these challenges, or like the reward challenge where they had to walk over the balance beam and like hug each other in order to get across in the United States Survivor anymore, because there's so much touching on these. And I was like, dang, that sucks, because like the balance beam challenge and this challenge are fun to watch.
They're fun to watch, but then also you don't want like sexual assault allegations because some people can't keep their hands to themselves apparently. But it didn't look like that was a problem in this version. It looked like they were really awkward, like at least on the balance beam challenge, it looked like they were really awkward high schoolers at a dance, or maybe even middle schoolers like trying to slow dance. So yeah.
Yeah, better casting there, I guess, where you don't cast people that have a history of things that are not okay for reality television and not okay for any kind of real life. So we see Blue win, and I don't know, it was interesting because these blocks were falling and then Nico was kept screaming like watch your head, and then it looked like literally these blocks from falling at such a great height could like knock you out or like incapacitate you. I was like, okay, this is like very dangerous, and things kept falling. It was very spicy.
The thing is, I wonder why they do these challenges knowing that it's going to be potentially dangerous. Because there was something similar in a recent episode of US Survivor where Jeff was like, you have to be really careful about this. And then someone like got hit in the head and they had to pause the challenge to get medical. There was Survivor Australia where they were like, oh, land this certain way, and then someone broke his leg or whatever.
Oh, I'm still pissed off about that.
It's like, maybe if your challenges have such potential to hurt someone that you need to like give specific instructions about how not to be hurt, you should rethink that challenge.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad that the US Survivor, they stopped doing those blindfold challenges where you have to go pick up big blocks, like where Spencer almost like broke his leg by getting crushed by a block. I'm like, that's not fun for anyone. Like maybe make these blocks foam or less sharp edges, make them like less QB so that when they poke your eye or like they can't poke your eye out, they can't knock you out and like almost hurt you or like make you get a concussion or something. Like that would be so crappy. That's like if you got medevaced on day 10, 11, wherever it is now, or if you got rock drawed out on second immunity. It's just a hot mess all around. So we see Blue winning first and then Yellow wins second. So we have Red losing, and the Red tribe has Ace and Josie being in the minority on that tribe. And they think that they found an idol clue on the swinging bed at their camp, which I thought that was such a cool idol clue that it was like carved into the wood on their swinging bench. That was really cool. And it was like, okay, it looked like camp. You have to dig near the fire pit and the idol would be hidden in the sand there. It was really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was cool as well, just because it's like we think a lot about idol clues being like pieces of paper or just like something movable. And so having it, yeah, I thought that was a really cool clue as well, especially because like the shelter was already built for them. So
yeah, and I was just very confused because it was cool to see Ace digging in front of everyone, trying to be discreet, and then Josie like covering for him. Everyone was sleeping in the shelter, and Ace was just like digging right in front of everyone. And then everyone was like, Ace is so weird. Why is he digging so much? And so that was sort of funny kind of thing. Josie was like, yeah, it's super awkward. Everyone thinks he's weird now. But I don't know, I felt like it could backfire because now everyone is going to target you because you're being weird at camp digging so much. And then it sort of seemed like that happened versus it could have been a good plan. Like, let me be super annoying at camp if I did find the idol so that all the votes would get thrown on me. And then we don't have to guess between Ace and Josie who the idol needs to be played on. But I acted so annoying that I know the votes are coming from me, Ace, that I would play the idol. But just being annoying and digging and then not even finding the idol just did not make much sense.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I wasn't that upset about it just because Ace was so wishy-washy. But it just it's weird that they couldn't find the idol. And I feel like Survivor has a problem with digging. Like, it seems like when digging is involved, people cannot do it right.
Yeah, I was confused too because it seemed like it should be easy enough to dig there and then like find the idol, but then like he literally dug a trench and then couldn't find the idol. So I don't know. I wish they found the idol and they could have pulled off something super cool. Werner was like, yeah, I'll play my idol if they pull out an idol kind of thing to save himself. So I was like, okay, people are thinking a few steps ahead. That's good. But it just seemed like no payoff because he didn't even find the idol when it seemed maybe straightforward. I really hope maybe in the next episode or so, Josie can find the idol. I want her to get it. So maybe she'll start digging. And I just want to see, like, was this idol really difficult or dug really deep in a hole that, like, that he couldn't find it? Or was he just, like, not digging in the right spot? I was just confused how he couldn't find it.
Yeah, I was confused too, because I guess one of the things about if he was trying to be surreptitious at first, maybe it's possible he did something then that made it harder to find. I don't know, because I feel like they generally try to make idols pretty easy to find once you have the clue. And so I feel like they would put it deep enough that you couldn't like accidentally stumble on it, just like cleaning up the fire pit, but not like into the bowels of the earth deep. So
Yeah, literally. It's like it's dug so deep that you hit water again. I'm like, I don't know. So we see Ace get voted out. I was like, okay, not a too big of a fault. I feel like episodes 2, 3, 4. I was like, Neil, Stacey Lee going home, Ace going home. Ace was interesting because he was so wishy-washy. I was like, what's he gonna do next? So that was like, but also I don't think he's that good of a player. So it's really no harm, no foul that he got voted out so early. So all in all, I enjoyed these 3 episodes. I just hoping, I guess, to see maybe more strategic things happening, but it's fun entertainment. All of these people are such hot messes, but I do want to see some people step up to the plate and play this game.
what's interesting is they're not hot messes like Philip Shepard or Debbie, whatever her last name is, Wagner. Well, it starts with
Winner.
whatever. They're not hot messes in the way where like anyone looks at them and is like, "Oh, you're crazy." They're hot messes the way that like your messy best friend from college is. And so I feel like that makes it more fun to watch because you're not like this person is crazy. You're like this person is a lot, but I understand where they're coming from. So yeah, I really hope that like there is more strategic elements just because I think we've both said before that like a lot of twists and turns aren't necessarily what make a good season. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's super memorable so far. I don't think I will ever forget a rock draw happening at the second tribal council, ever.
Yeah. So this next week we're going to be watching the next 3 episodes, so 5, 6, and 7. We'll link those in the description box down below so you can watch along with us if you would like. As always, feel free to leave your comments about what you thought of these 3 episodes in the comment section. But please remember, we're trying to remain unspoiled even though this entire season has already aired. So please no spoilers in the comments. And
Yeah, so
we'll see you guys soon.